Hello? Hey, wait! Hey, who are you? What's this?
Admit one to the grand opening of Horrorland, where nightmares come to life.
Whatever.
This is a test. This station is conducting a test of the emergency broadcasting system. This is only a test.
Hello, Internet. How's it going? Welcome to October. Ooh.
Hello.
It's spooky October month. How you guys doing?
I'm not ready. Bit of feedback. I'm not ready to be spooked yet. I think I need a little bit more chill time before the spooking happens in general.
Yeah, I'm feeling kind of ready. Is there something we can do to help bring out your spooky spirits this fine Halloween season?
You could tell me what that intro was from, because now I need to look it up.
Oh, that was from Goosebumps Horrorland. Very apropos. Which is,
I think I played that.
Oh yeah,
once.
2008. That's Wii PS2. Wii PS2. Hey, did you know we put all that stuff in the credits? If you're ever curious wherever these fun things come from, check the credits after the show. We credit everything. It's not stealing if you credit, right?
I think so. That's what I tell my students.
Oh, welcome to our show. We got a good show for you tonight. A little bit of a lightweight cast for you. Everyone else is ghosts, right? That's why they're not here. They are actually here. They're just in costume and doing a great job, and we cheer them on. Yeah. Anyways, we got some stuff going on. James, do we have some announcements for the fine folks here?
We do. I was just thinking we forgot to wear costumes, but I guess I look sort of spooky with like my Earthbound background.
We're literally always in a costume.
It's true. It is a little early though. It's only the 13th, right? Like everybody's talking about like Halloween, like it's just around the corner, but I mean it's at the end of the month, right?
I mean, time just flows at this point, right? It's gonna come up soon. Anyways, maybe by the end of the show we'll find some costumes.
It is at least October the 13th. Dun dun dun. Very scary. Well, it's not Friday, but I mean, you know, still the 13th.
And I think we have some like spooky-ish things happening today, right? Some weird things happening to video games, some spooky games, some cool demos and stuff.
Yeah, we inadvertently got a pretty spooky guest in that we have Andy Dev to talk about his game Trespassers, which is sort of like a cryptid hunting, very spooky Halloween themed game.
Very cool.
In terms of, oh wait, I'm switching to the wrong screen. Hold on.
Games from the internet.
In terms of some announcements, there's just a few things that are going on in October. A lot of stuff has already sort of transpired. There was a lot of October events earlier in the month, but still upcoming. There is Dames Making Games. They have their October Speaker Social on the 30th. Well, I'll throw that in the chat in a sec. I don't want to lose my bookmarks here, but so that's coming up on the 30th. So you can sign up for that on their website. I'll put a link to that shortly in the chat. Also, a number of different studios, sorry, I forget all of their individual names, but they are starting they have already started a bit of a fundraising campaign based around making indie games better. So this is a bunch of different smaller studios that are run predominantly by, sorry, I forget the acronym, LGBTQ plus creators and such, and so they're starting an initiative in in partnership with Playtra Games and Gaming, which you guys may be familiar with. So they're trying to raise money for that. I don't know all the details of this yet, but it'll all be here on the site. I'll also link that in a second. In terms of other stuff, I know that Witchwood, I think, got released pretty recently, and that's sort of like a Toronto. I'm not sure where all the people that worked on that is. It's so hard these days, you know. A lot of people have a lot of remote people on their teams.
Was it released, or was it part of the demo fest on Steam?
It was part of the demo fest. It was part of the demo fest.
Okay.
Hold on, where is that?
We know there's lots of people that worked on that game. That's awesome.
Yeah, including
Direct Tangle Zone, Liam Sov.
Hell yeah, go listen to Liam's sweet tunes. You searching for a link here?
I should have been more organized. I'll grab that in a bit. Oh, here's the at least I can show it on my little screen. But yes, Witchwood, wonderful game. Yeah, that's all I had for announcements, though, I think. At least for ones I had prepped.
I've got one. Just something that might be of interest to folks in the chat or just hanging out. There is a bundle going on the front page of Itch at the moment. And the only reason I'm recommending it is I have used 3 of the tools in it. It's a several tools for not necessarily for making games, but for making all the things surrounding games. There's a really nice markdown editor. There's a mind map planning tool, which it turns out no one's made any of those since like 1998. So if you want an up-to-date one, there's one there. And also a couple different tile set making applications, which are a lot of fun to play with. So maybe check that out and let someone else do the work for you.
That's the motto for 2022, right? Let someone else do the hard work for you. All right, folks. Is there any other notes before we get going? Before we get the spooky times rolling?
That's all I got. I think we can go into Andy.
Let's do it. All right, folks. We will be back with our first presenter of the night. Don't go anywhere. right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with our very first presenter of the night, Andy. How's it going? Welcome,
Hey,
welcome to the
pretty
show.
good. Thank you. It's nice to be here.
We're not usually that professional. I'm excited to hear and see some of the things that you have for us tonight.
You're the furthest thing from a professional. It's all good. Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, I mean, I asked you to be on the show just because I saw a lot of your stuff on Twitter and stuff like that, and just from like, you know, the old indie game dev standby of like the animated GIF. I was really enjoying what I was seeing from your stuff. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Twitter's been like a really awesome platform for like getting attention and circulating my stuff. And I wasn't really taking full advantage of it until like earlier this year. And then Trespassers it started to get circulation. And so that was pretty awesome when that happened. So Twitter has been a good avenue for that. I kind of figured out how like hashtags work and like how many to have, and like if you have too many, it looks like an advertisement. You know, how long to keep the clips, and so um shit, yeah, I've been on my marketing and whatever. So
So tell us about the game that you brought here.
oh yeah, so yeah, I made a game called Trespassers. I know it's a little hard to say, but it's like a pun on trespassers and the word bash because you're bashing monsters. That's like the whole thing in the game. It's a little Metroidvania about, you know, running around hunting cryptids with your flashlight. There's a whole mechanic with that. Um, I have the game here. I can pull it up at some point, but you know, kind of just kind of just winging it out here until we're ready to present that. I didn't really have a structure as to when I wanted to bring it up, so I don't know.
It's on Steam right now.
Yeah, it's on Steam, it's on itch. I definitely prefer people buy it on itch, but if you want to play it on Steam, I don't have a problem with that because it's also on there. If I had a problem with that, I wouldn't be putting it on Steam. So
Oh, I think is James showing a video of the game right now?
I'm showing it on my cam, but do you want to
So-
get it on the stream?
Sneak preview.
do you want me to stream it now? I can pull it up if you want.
Preview.
Yeah, I think it'd be good if we talk over it.
Sweet. Let me
I'm trying to nail the particular style of pixel art really reminds me of something like the certain level of fidelity.
there's like a blend of styles I kind of went for. I know the resolution is like a lot of people are like, this looks like a Game Boy Color game, and like I get it because it kind of does because the pixels are huge because it's a small resolution. The resolution of the game is 128 by 128, and there's no console that really does that. Well, I guess if you want to count Pico 8, it's not a Pico 8 game, but it might as well be. But I think that's what makes people think it's like a Game Boy styled game, but there's a lot more Famicom influence on the style. It's kind of got like a early Famicom, like a 1986 Zelda kind of look to it. So I don't know. It's a little bit of a blend of both, and the audio is completely different. It's a bunch of different things, but it is all on the same chip. It's all on the 2A03 audio chip, which is just the regular NES chip. So it's just the 5 channels, 2 pulse channels, 1 triangle, 1 sound channel, and then 1 recorded sound channel. So, or noise channel was the fourth one I meant. You know what I meant.
Did you make the music as well?
Yeah, I wrote the soundtrack. There's 63 songs.
Holy shit.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like kept writing them, and I was like, I should write another song for like the end of the game, and then I just like ended up with too many of them, and so they're all in there. So, yeah, let me stream this thing. I'm talking about it, but
Yeah, get your stream going so people can
Yeah,
hear,
well, take a
hear
look.
some of the tunes.
Oh sweet, it's gonna stream at 60. Might lag for a second. I'm gonna go to the menu. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna start a file, and I'll skip the intro cutscene. That's exclusive content. In order to see the intro cutscene, you're gonna have to buy the game for $9.99 on itch.io.com or itch.io. I said itch.io.com. What the hell's wrong with me? Anyways,
It's okay.
yeah. So
From a lot of sort of like a chiptune, like sort of background. Like you have like a lot of different like albums and soundtracks you've done and stuff like that. Is that sort of like where you sort of more got your start, and then you sort of started developing your own games from?
It's like a mix of both. I don't know. I've always wanted to write music and stuff, and so growing up, I had GarageBand, and GarageBand is awesome if you like want to learn how to like write MIDI music, because you can just like you can pull sound font files into there and you know, just put stuff together. And so I learned a bit of music theory. I mean, I took like band class in like high school, and so like I already knew how notes worked. I knew what a scale was. I knew what like basic chords were, but like, you know, the more I started to write music, the more I kind of figured out like the general rules. So so chiptune kind of came out of that, and then when I made my first game, Space Cat, it took a lot of I was also learning Famitracker at the time, and so a lot of those chiptunes are just things that I wrote around the time that weren't necessarily written to fit into the game, and so that game ended up having like a bunch of just random music that I wrote. So whereas this one, it's like I wrote the soundtrack specifically with the game. What I do now, and what I've done for like the past 3 projects, is I write the soundtracks while I'm making the game. And it's mostly for the purpose of like making the making it thematically all come together, you know.
What's the graffiti on the wall there? So.
Oh yeah, it's green sheen says eat your greens, and if you like shine the flashlight, it says eat your flipping greens.
Oh, that's awesome.
So what's the base? Like, what's the basic sort of mechanics of this? Obviously, you have like a weapon. I've seen in some of your videos that you have like some alternate weapons and stuff like that. There's like a whip and stuff too.
Flashlight.
But the flashlight seems like the other sort of like main verb or whatever, if you want to get like overly game design professor-y talky. What's like the main mechanics of this? Like, how does the flashlight sort of work into the weapons and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'll talk about it a bit. So the flashlight, so I guess what makes this like unable to be a real Famicom game is the fact that you have more than 2 face buttons. I guess if you really wanted to be technical about it, you could like be like, hey, you could press select or whatever, but who the hell wants to do that? So so there's 3 face buttons. You play it, but there's also a 4th one for changing weapons. But I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get an alternate weapon in the time that we're playing, because I don't have any other pre-existing save files right now because I upgraded my SSD yesterday.
That's all good.
But no, the flashlight. So the flashlight's mapped to a separate button. When you press it, you strafe, and the battery will go down. And it's basically just a toggle button. So every time you tap it, it goes on or off. And the bat, if you hold the bat button, it will charge it up, and then you can release it and hit things. If you hit the wall, you'll bounce off the wall.
Always good to have a sparkle effect when something is charged up, I say.
Can you use
Yeah.
that? Can you use that wall bounce to like pass over like large spaces or something like that? Does that ever come up? That's kind of cool.
Yeah, actually, there's a part in the game that you have to do that to get across. You can also get a double jump, and if you end up doing that first, there's like an easier solution. But that's a way to do it. I have to close the Twitch stream because it's like, I guess it's too much for my computer, so it's lagging the game a little bit. So I want the game to run fine. So,
So you had a lot of frames on that door animation.
oh yeah, you know what? You know what it is? It's scaled. It's not even. But
there we go.
so I coded like another line of pixels on the end of the door, so it looks like it's smooth because of it. So It's a little bit of wizardry. Yeah, so what the flashlight does with enemies, though, is it just makes them visible and hittable. And so you can't hit enemies until you shine them with the flashlight.
Oh.
Do some of them attack before you shine the light on them?
Those enemies in particular don't do anything until you approach them. And some of them, I think this is one of the only enemies that doesn't actually need the flashlight required. Because it's kind of supposed to be an animated prop, so... But no, not every enemy will just be idle until you approach it. Some of them will just straight up attack you in the dark. And while that might seem a little bit, like, unfair at first, it's kind of part of the whole thing. Like, you know, they're scary enemies in the dark, and they're trying to get you. So you gotta be faster and get the hell away from them. You can also find...
It's all these doors that are dreaming of keys.
Oh yeah, the first and most important upgrade you'll get is the backflip.
Of course, the old Richter Belmont special.
Hell yeah. It's not quite like Richter's, but, you know, I like Richter's moveset, but I think Terry does this a little bit better. So in order to do the backflip, you pivot, and when you jump while you're pivoting, you do the backflip. And the backflip just puts you up a little bit higher. You can also do it while you're charging an attack, and you'll turn around.
Oh, so it's Donkey Kong for the Game Boy style then.
Yeah, it's a lot like that. I like the moveset in that game.
Yeah, that game kicks ass.
If you have the flashlight though, and you do an attack, and you do that jump, you'll stay straight forward, but the flashlight will turn off. Because when you do an attack while you have the flashlight out, it'll resume the flashlight as soon as you're done with it. So it's a tiny little like control thing you can do.
Lots of little,
Oh, what the fuck?
lots of little quality of life features and stuff. It feels like. Some
Yeah, I
good
like
attention to
fun
detail
little like niche little details like that. That like a speedrunner would be like, oh, that's right, you gotta have the flashlight out so you do the jump right or whatever.
I will have to afterwards. I feel like this game would be there's a show I watch every now and then on Twitch where some speedrunners sponsor basically a tournament in a game that doesn't really have many runners every week. And I think this game would be the perfect scale for it, so remind me to tell you about it afterwards.
Please do, because that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it'd be a great way to get more eyes on it, and it's also just a fun little thing. It's called Speed Bump.
I think they'd get a lot out of this one, because I did a lot to like try and optimize it for speedrunning.
Wow.
Watching it a little bit more, and also just with the sort of like Famicom-inspired stuff, aside from this extremely treasure boss, the spooky face feels very Gunstar Heroes, but a lot of the other...
Where's his hands?
a lot of the other stuff feels very Studio Pixel, like Cave Story and Caro Blaster.
Oh yeah, I love him, and I love their games. Yeah.
Okay.
I just finished Caro Blaster a few months ago, actually. And it's pretty fun.
Yeah, that game rules.
Cave Story, I think everybody's played Cave Story at least once.
Yeah.
I've played Cave Story on my 3DS. And that was pretty fun. Yeah, I like their style.
So I'm gonna go out I'm gonna go out on a limb here and suggest that due to the game having a whip, having like the Richter Belmont backflip jump, the fact that you were fighting like the Grand Falloon a little while ago. That there's a lot of sort of like a Castlevania like sort of inspiration to this game. But what
Never
like
heard
we
of
talked about Pixel, we talked about Cave. Sorry, I was wrong. We talked about Cave Story. We talked about some other things. What was sort of like the sort of like the initiative, like the initial reason that you started making this game? Like, what was your sort of like original idea for it?
God, I gotta really think back. So I started this game like literally this time last year, and maybe in like November actually. I don't know. I have the like first tweet about the game, and I like looked at it earlier today, but I don't remember what the date was. But you know, it's hard to like talk and like play a game, and I never like think about that until I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But
It's really tough.
so I'm gonna play badly, but I'm gonna still talk. So, God, when did I start? So when I started making this, I wanted to make something, because I guess I just had like this visual. The first things I added in the game were the flashlight, the bat, and that first enemy, the apparition-looking thing, the little tentacle-looking guy. Yeah. So those are the first like 3 things I added, and I was like, this could be cool. This could be like, as I was trying to do like low scope projects and get them out quicker, because my past few games like took way too long to make. I don't know. The game before this took only 3 months, but it was because I kind of gave up on it, and like my previous game was called Vinky's Trash Service, and I like it's all right. Like it's like a little platformer. It's harmless. There's no enemies. It's okay. I don't know. I don't want to talk too much shit about my own games that I'm literally selling, but like I think this is my best work. But that game turned into this because I added mechanics to that to make it so that game, like, so I built this game out of that game in Game Maker, and then I just started like creating the rest of the game, and it was kind of a different project at a different time. I wanted to make more levels instead of this one big interconnected map, because like, oh wait, that's right, I don't have the map. If you look at like the map in this game, it's like Symphony of the Night or whatever, or Metroid, where it's just one big map. I wanted to make this stage-based at one point, but the decision to make it one Metroidvania was because the first level got too big. And so, at that point, I changed the whole scope of the game, and I was like, okay, I need to get this out in a few months, and then, but I want to make it seamless and fun, and so I changed the scope of the game at that time to just be one level. And it turned out good, because the game's still pretty long. But I guess the initial inspiration was, I don't know, I kind of was like, it'd be kind of fun to have like a game about like exploring abandoned buildings and stuff, and like, you know, trespassing. So, I don't know. I thought of those mechanics. I really wanted a character with a baseball bat, because I watched One Punch Man, and I really liked Metal Bat, the character, and I don't know. I was like, man, it's so cool how he just like has this metal baseball bat and just like punching. And so I made that sound effect in FamiTracker, that like big ding sound when you hit the wall, and that was the sound for like hitting enemies for a little while until I changed it. And now it's a different sound. But at the time I was like, I really want to make that like, I want to make it feel like you're using like a steel bat, you know. Yeah. And so I tried to like nail that game feel. And the other weapons, like the late game weapons, were not added until like later in development. And then like the whip was the first thing I added for obvious reasons. God, what did I add? I added a slingshot, and then I just kept adding weapons, and I was like, this game is too much fun to not have more weapons in, so.
It's funny how easy it is to make, that like metal pipe sound with like the NES like sound chip. Like I'm just thinking of like River City Ransom, like when you drop a pipe.
Oh yeah, I love River City Ransom. Yeah.
Someone in his chat is just asking Scut and Destroy. Do you have rules in the game for like the sizes of the sprites or anything, or is it just like pretty free form?
Kinda. I didn't. Okay, obviously you can see there's parallax backgrounds here, which is, you know, not a thing that NES does very well, especially with like layers. If you would see, so like in an NES game, what a parallax background would look like is you would have like lines of tiles moving at different speeds in the background, rather than overlapping backgrounds moving at different speeds. And so I broke the rules because I don't give a shit. And the bash visual effect here, right here, when I'll kill this dude. Oh, maybe I won't. There we go. That thing, the big wavy sprite. That's got a transparency value. I mean, like, I bend the rules a lot, you know, but most of the game is still 16 by 16 tiles. There's a couple areas where, you know, I use 8 by 8. So I tried to abide by enough rules to make it look genuine, but I didn't want it to feel restricted by them or ugly because of it, and so I'm gonna get killed. I'm gonna get killed. If I keep talking and stop thinking, I'm gonna get killed.
I really like how you have a lot of like visual variety in terms of like different little set piece graphics for your backgrounds and stuff like that. Was that something? I haven't looked that much at your other games or anything, but is that something that you found was easier to do in less time due to like the constraint of sort of like everything being this sort of like dark nighttime sort of a situation with the levels?
So the backgrounds were at one point in development, the whole background was just black because I wanted the enemies to blend in completely, and then I realized that's a terrible game design idea because people are gonna hate that. And so now there's only rooms that are completely dark. Like I was just in the theater and the background's black in there, but the Onis in particular, the guys I'm fighting right now, these guys suck when the background was black. And so so I changed that and I started adding these like silhouette like parallax backgrounds to a few areas. And of course there was like some issues because the flashlight layering was different at the time, and so that's pretty much that. Yeah, but these the tile sets, a lot of them are actually like from Binky. They're from Binky's trash service. But I recolored a lot of them, and I started adding more like mini set pieces to make the game feel a little bit more like its own thing and a little more genuine. If you looked at this game and you looked at Binky's trash service, you wouldn't see a whole lot of overlap. The backflip was really the only thing that carried over. Because the general like character physics are similar. It's way less floaty in this game, but pretty much. Oh, here's another one where there's a parallax background. It's a little dark here, though. There's like this dark green. Oh, and that reminds me. Speaking of like technical limitations, the palette is not super consistent. It's like I used 2 different NES palettes, and then I just started breaking the palette entirely to get these darker colors for the background.
Yeah.
I like how the Moai head, instead of like a Moai head that comes alive, it's just like a ghoul that's like wearing a Moai head as like a costume.
Yeah, I like that guy. That was a pretty early monster. I think there was one monster that there's a couple monsters that went unused early in the game, but not very many. The Jersey Devil, which is the one I just fought, that was another early one. You know, I don't have the enemy names displayed. Let me do that here. Oh yeah, there's fall damage because F you. Can I swear? I don't know how like.
Yeah.
You can.
Okay. There's
yeah.
fall damage because fuck you. Here, let's go Let's go to the configuration menu in real time.
Whoa. Almost looks like a Pico 8 game or something.
Same res as one. I've never worked in Pico 8. The Pico 8 guy followed me though. He seems nice. I should talk to him or something. Or I should like try Pico 8 sometime. So I don't look like a poser making a fake Pico 8 game in Game Maker.
Working whatever you want. But
no one will ever be any the wiser.
There's definitely like.
By the way, Game Maker. I use Game Maker. I've used Game Maker forever. I grew up with like Game Maker 7, and so I just like kept getting the newer one. But I couldn't afford the full version of Game Maker for a long time until like GMS 1 went on Humble Bundle. And then once I got GMS 1, GMS 2 was the standard, and then I upgraded to GMS 2 like this year. And this project is the first thing I've done in GMS 2, and I like it a lot, and I think I'm gonna stick with that game engine for a while.
This is very cool.
You can do a lot
people
with it
talk
now.
about Godot, and I don't get Godot.
Whoa.
I think it's Godot.
Oh, Godot? Oh my god. Like the...
All your pronunciation's off. It's Trey Bashers, clearly.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, it's Trash Busters.
Bashy.
It's Tesh Bashies. I don't know. I don't know why I put the hyphen there, honestly.
All good. You definitely have a few little like demo scene-y visual effects here and there, like in the background of the menu or these little paths. I've seen the dissolves and stuff.
Mm.
This is very cool.
Yeah, I like that stuff. I wanted to do more like random little visual flares. Because I felt like I can't have boring menus. Like, I don't know. I wanted fun menus. Oh, here are the wizards. Everybody loves the wizards. Their projectile doesn't actually hurt you until it ends. It turns red before it can damage you. Oh yeah, and I definitely recommend a D-pad for this game.
Every game's got to have some pyramid blocks that face the camera. If it's for the Famicom, anyway.
Yeah. Definitely gotta have those.
So yeah, did we have any other questions from the chat? I think I think we
Oh
asked.
yeah, I haven't been reading chat, so I'm just...
You're all good.
You're all good, we've been watching it.
So you can collect. I love any game with a bestiary that has collectible cards and that. So it looks like you can.
Yep. So they're basically separate collectibles. I had thought like, oh, maybe it'll be when you like find the monster, but then I was like, this game doesn't even have like collectibles yet, and so that's when I decided to add them in.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what are all the counters here? So you got health, you got coins, for in case you see the librarian and you're interested in something. You've got keys. And what is the sort of purple fire?
Oh, that's your kills. That's how many monsters you've killed. And if you go to... Let me go to a specific shop. Because I need to get some upgrades. I don't know if I'm going to show all the bosses. I might show one more.
Scott's just asking, since it's like a Metroidvania, are you sort of designing the map, like to have like a lot of backtracking, or?
There's a little bit. This is a really open-ended Metroidvania. What I tried to go for was, you can fight the bosses in almost any order. Actually, I think you can fight them in any order. I say I think, but I know that because I've done it. But you can fight the bosses in any order. There is a little bit of backtracking if you want to go back for like certain upgrades. I went the wrong way.
This guy's my favorite.
Oh, this deer or moose guy. This is the guy. I think this is the first thing I ever saw of your game, which is why I DM'd you about it.
Yeah, I love that guy.
What's the name of that guy?
It's a Deimos. It's like Deimos. It's like Deimos, like the Greek god, but it's moose. It's like a moose.
Oh, Travis Peace in the chat, I think, put on it, Jonah. The game has a Monster Party vibe to it. That's what it is.
But
Oh yeah, I like Monster Party. That game's too hard. This game is not as hard as Monster Party, so please buy it.
The other thing I was thinking of now, with some of like the big chunky fonts and big colorful monster sprites and stuff, also make me think of the Neo Geo Pocket Color games like Dark Arms and other spooky little games like that, because that also was like a small resolution, big color kind of a console that not many people actually had, but is worth checking out.
I don't think I've actually ever played it. But yeah, whenever somebody brings that up, I get it mixed up with the Wonder Swan Pocket thing.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the Neo Geo one has some cool like mini KOF game or something that I've seen before. That's probably my only recollection of it. I don't know. This game's also great on CRTs. I highly recommend people play it on, if they have the means to do it, play it on a CRT.
Got a couple more questions in chat.
Sure.
Someone asking, I believe we already answered, but you composed all the music mostly in FamiTracker, you said?
Yep, I did all of it in FamiTracker. I pretty much do all of my music in FamiTracker exclusively now. I used to use GarageBand when I had a Mac, but not anymore. I don't know. I kind of want to write music that's like outside of like the NES chiptune. If I'm doing NES chiptune, and if anybody's doing NES chiptune, there's no reason not to use FamiTracker. But I don't know. I've thought about trying to do some like stuff outside of that territory. Like I think an arranged soundtrack for this game would be really, really fun to do. But I was really smart and I wrote 63 songs for this game, so I mean that's just so much work. So
there's also a hard question to answer.
Hit me.
How did you decide how hard to make the game?
So I didn't want it to be... That is a hard question. I gotta think. Damn.
It's a tough question. I'm telling you. I didn't just say that for the pun. It's actually, there's some truth to it.
Yeah, damn, man. That did hit me. So I guess I didn't want it to be like impossible, but I didn't want it to be like super forgiving either. So the game, there's no like lives. When you die, you go to your save point. Because lives are antiquated, and you know, even Mario dished lives, you know, with Mario Odyssey. So like, there's no reason to have that. And I guess this is kind of like a Sotenvania anyway. So, so that game didn't have lives either. But when I decided to make like the difficulty of the monsters, it definitely varies from monster to monster, and I kind of try to introduce them in like waves. And so like when you there's a couple areas that you're like required to traverse, like the soccer field. I keep falling, and it's because it's because I'm talking.
It looks
that's
so satisfying, though.
why. Yeah, that big meaty like sound when you hit the ground. That's why I added the fall damage. It's because I wanted the sound.
So you've only got the face plant though to have like the full the full Donkey Kong 94 experience, you got to have like the somersault when you only fall like a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, DK94 is great. I wasn't even thinking about the backflip in that game when I made it in this one.
Exploits.
I was thinking more about I was playing Mario Sunshine, and that game's hard. And
Yeah.
I was getting annoyed because I couldn't do it, and I was like, "Oh, this would be a cool mechanic to put into a 2D game." And then I did, and yeah. And then everybody is like, "Wow, this is the DK94 flip," and I'm like, "Wow, okay, yeah, it is." I forgot about that, but I have totally played that game, but I forgot about that, so I don't know. I guess to answer the difficulty thing a little bit more definitively, the early part of the game got the most work, and then the rest of the game got, the enemies are a little bit more, you gotta be more creative with your strategies, and you have more weapons by then anyway, and so enemies become a lot less, you know, intense to fight. When you're fighting them with the bat, you gotta get up close, you gotta, like, strafe, you gotta, like, you know, not let that happen. But once you get, like, the whip, which I don't think I'm gonna get in this video, I might. It might be fun. Once you get, like, other weapons, you get, like, the slingshot, you find the hatchet, whatever, the game gets a lot easier. But I'll admit there's some enemy spam, and that's largely because it's very fun to fight a lot of wizards at the same time. And so if you encounter a whole lot of wizards, I'm not sorry.
Well, we're coming up on the hour, so do you want to... Should we wrap up, Derek, and get over to your...
Do you want? Can we see the bestiary?
Oh
Over
yeah,
here.
let me go there.
Sort of on
Yeah.
that same topic, there's a question from Skull Pixel. Other than the final boss, which enemy do you consider the hardest enemy in the game? And is it in the Bestiary?
The clowns kind of turned out really hard. And it's because they're the only enemy in the game that can guard. So maybe them. But I don't know. I'd say the clowns is like my soft answer. But I'd have to ponder it a little bit more. These guys suck too. And I mean that in an endearing way. They suck, but you should still buy my game. No, these guys like, the Frostskin, Burnskin enemies are these masks that spin around. I fought one earlier, but in the theater, and they can slow you down too. Oh, I guess the Demus is also very hard because yeah, that also slows you down. Any enemy that slows you down tends to be pretty hard because they kind of trap you into encountering them, or at least hitting them and like getting the time to run away. So
I think the Amalgamation is a better name than the Grand Falloon. Oh, the Grand Falloon's a real good name. I mean, come on.
yeah, this is my favorite boss without a doubt. I mean, I like the other ones a lot. I'm gonna say that about every boss, though. I don't know. I like them all. They all turned out great.
So cool. I love this so much. Andy, thank you so much for showing this game. Remind everyone where they can go find it.
Oh yeah. Here, let's. Yeah.
I posted the itch, but I'll post it again.
Yeah, you can find the game on itch.io and Steam. It's called Trespassers. I'm sure you can find it in the title. Follow me on Twitter. I'm at OndyDev, ONDYDEV. And it's been fun. Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah, man. This is amazing. Everyone go buy Andy's game. Also, let's get some Doritos in the chat for Andy. Here. We will be back in just a minute with our next video game. Don't go anywhere. All right, we are back with our next presenter of the evening, the one and only Jonah Davidson.
Hello.
Hi.
I was just here and I continue to be here. And I've demoed things related to this ROM hacking project a couple times over the last few rectangles here and there. I talked about the very first version of it, and then I talked about the 37th version of it and how far it had come. And we're now up to version 42. So what I'm going to talk about today is I recently reached a big milestone in this project, which was that I finally had some nice text in game that wasn't there originally. And I don't. I'll get to that eventually, but I'm just going to talk through the roadmap of how I got there and all the weirdness that got us there. In the chat at the moment is Landmine, who's my kind of co-conspirator in this, who has collated a lot of the data and helped data mine a bunch of stuff and find stuff. So I don't know if anybody in the chat is familiar with Quest 64. I've been rambling about it. Maybe you checked it out. Maybe you haven't. But this is a randomizer and a revival project for Quest 64, which is one of my favorite old busted-ass games that was never finished. So we've kind of almost set out to finish it. And mostly because Quest is a very cool game with a lot of cool features that were clearly unfinished. Like a sick-ass magic system with a whole bunch of different spells. It's controlled using the C button, so you can't see, but different combinations of the 4 elements give you different spells, like a healing spell. It also has, like, I think, pretty, well, okay, not timeless, but pretty decent visuals for the N64 era. It's really not very grainy, and it's nice and colorful. And the feature that we fought with for the longest time are these. So in this game, there are a bunch of items. There's like healing items in that. There's also spell items. There are 6 of them. These things. My favorite is probably the giant's shoes, just because it's a great visual, a great concept. And when we started hacking around with this game, one of the first things that we did was we messed with spells and we shuffled around spell properties. That was the very first thing the randomizer did, was you could play a version of this game with the spells all shuffled around, It was broken as hell, but it was pretty cool. And it was also completely incomprehensible to a new player. There was no way they were going to understand why the spells were the way they were. Their names were wrong. They animated wrong. Half of them crashed the game. It was not practical in any way. So at the point we're at now, I've managed to fix a lot of the errors with those shuffled spells. I've managed to deal with the fact that these spell items were breaking and unique in different ways, and I've managed to give them new names and new descriptions. So these items just in terms of how the game code works, they just cast a spell from your spell set, whether you have it or not. It's a single use version of your spell that can't miss. Like this one is a spell called Windwalk. And it can be handy. You'd be like, this one silences all the enemies, which is a spell that misses constantly, except if you use the item, it doesn't miss. So let's see. Let's dig into the hexadecimal a bit. So the spells in game, actually you saw them. Their names in game are just in plain text. And I'm just going to show you. Come on. In the hexadecimal, is it right here? Did I scroll past it? Oh, right here. This is probably pretty small, and I'm sorry if it is. I'll see if I can actually zoom up a little further. Giant font. Thank you. Perfect. So in the code of this game, which is a whole bunch of hexadecimal, all the spells have plain text names. So if we just wanted to change the name of one of the spells, that was a pretty easy hurdle to clear. I've shuffled around all the spells. They don't make any sense. But if I want to, I can change their names and make those names make a bit more sense. So at first, you just sort of had to figure out which spell had become which other spell. But then we thought, okay, well, we can replace these names with new names. So the first thing that I thought of was procedural generation, because this is what I do whenever anyone asks me to do literally anything, which is that for every single spell, I thought of, okay, we could make up spell names by combining a prefix and a suffix based on the original spell, and the modifier, the spell that was shuffled up with it. So I gave every single spell in the game a prefix and suffix because I like writing flavor text. And now when you play the game, let me just make sure I've got the right version. With a slightly later version of the game, which is this one. It's going to take me a second to boot up. The shuffled spells all had new names that allowed you to at least sort of get a general sense of what they were. So in this case, here are the earth spells. They're completely incomprehensible to anyone who's not a normal player of the game, but they at least kind of hint maybe at kind of what they do. They're a little more evocative. Mending Roller is the base healing spell mixed with a spell called Rolling Rock. So when you cast it, a tiny little rock rolls underneath your feet and heals you. We're still working on improving the animations. And you can see that big puff of dust. Let me see if I can see that rock. Come on. No, it's not very visible. Okay. I'm still trying to fix that. So I said, okay, I've got these cool spell names, right? These Scan Might, Spark Column, Crystal Whisper, they came out pretty cool. They're kind of neat. They're evocative. But I still have, for these spell items, not in this version, but I just had the base descriptions. And those were kind of cool sometimes. Having the base, it sort of became a bit of a puzzle where, okay, you know this item normally casts Windwalk. So whatever spell it casts now is the spell that got shuffled with Windwalk. So you could use the spell items to kind of get a sense of some of the spells in the game and where they were hidden and where useful ones might be. It was still very confusing. People didn't understand why the spell items just literally did not do what they said they did. So I needed to change their descriptions. So once again, rather than have to write all of them myself, I asked for some help with this one, which is text data here. For this one, I crowdsourced with the other folks helping out with testing and stuff. I said, okay, I'm trying to write new item descriptions for every single spell. This is the amount of text space that we've got to work with. It's a hard amount of space. We can't make it any bigger than this without doing some major hacking. And as we learned, also, all of my new descriptions basically had to be shorter than the old descriptions. The example being here, default saline spell description, and my example alternate description. And the reason why they had to be shorter is because I'm lazy. And if I made them any longer, they would run over and run into other descriptions and break them. So I said, okay, we're just going to make all the spell descriptions as short as the shortest one, and they will all fit nicely into that text box that appears. And then that broke in about 10 other ways and took weeks and weeks to fix. I had to write a new text translation method because, as it turns out, that text is not plain text like the spell text is. It's in an extremely weird library format where you have to enter 1 byte and then the letters, and every time you change rows, you have to enter that byte again. And this nicely formatted text, this Fireball level 1, that's all really easy to read. This is what the spell names look like. It's just garbage data, at least from our point of view. So I wrote a text translation function, and then that gave us stuff like these descriptions. So, powering aura, minor attack increase. It was very cool to see all these descriptions appear in game, but they didn't all work. I had made some errors with the translation. Some of them were too long. Yeah, the spell item description, sorry. Some of them were too long and overran the text box, which I wasn't sure was a thing that could happen, because some things in this game have built-in word wrap and other ones don't. So I took a little while to fix all of these, which took a lot longer than I thought, because it turns out adding punctuation makes it infinitely more complex. And that was pretty cool. Now we have these spell items. They've got cool descriptions that, well, once these errors are fixed, that tell you what they do. Still kind of a little abstract and weird. The reason why the silent flute doesn't do silencing anymore, and the giant's shoes just kind of throw wind at people, isn't really well explained. So I decided that the one final way that I would try to polish this is, let me make sure I've got the right ROM again. This one. If you're looking at this from the point of view of a new player who only has maybe played the base game once, as a really common experience with this game is that people played it in like 1999 for a little bit. They rented it once from Rogers Video or Blockbuster. They didn't have a controller pack, so they couldn't save. And they just got their ass kicked by the first boss a few times. That's the general experience. But if you're going to make a randomizer or you're going to do a ROM hacking project, you have to make it approachable. You have to make it so people who might not try this thing otherwise will try it. And I've been incredibly inspired by seeing the work of Pidge, Pidge01 on Twitch and Twitter, who has been working to absurd lengths on a Super Mario RPG randomizer. And she's doing incredibly wild hacking stuff. She's swapping boss sprites, she's hacking around in the ROM, she's making space for things that were never there before. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just moving text and a couple bytes around. But I realized that I have to make this approachable in one way or another. So all these confusing spells, all these things have to be at least internally consistent. So the way that I finally resolved all that was I wrote a whole bunch of new, I said I like writing flavor text, new item names that differ based on the properties and the element of the spell that is now attached to this item. So instead of the silent flute, it's the warped flute. I drew on a whole bunch of Celtic mythology because the game is about Celtic mythology for the naming of some of these items. Some of them are exactly the same as they were. Some of them are named after ancient Celtic deities that you may or may not know about. But now when someone plays this randomizer, or when they play the quality of life patch, which is a thing that the most recent version of the randomizer adds, you could just play the vanilla game but with some quality of life fixes. They won't sit down, play the game, use one of these items, and have it not do what it says it does. Which is, I think, the most important thing, not only in this weird hell project that I've been working on, but also a lot of games in general. I've been writing a guide in the last little while for how this randomizer works, and I just keep adding more and more stuff to it, because I would very much like people to try this who maybe didn't even play the original game. And I feel like the best way to do that is just to make it internally consistent and clear. You gonna tell me something cool? Yeah. This is the other cool thing that we did. Shannon is an NPC who appears in almost every inn in the game. And now she gives you hints about where the key items are hidden. Getting that to work took months and not look like crap. It looked like crap for a very long time.
What was the initial implementation of it like?
The initial implementation of the hints was just, she said, I don't even think she named the key item, or if she did name the key item, it was truncated somewhat, and all it said was either if it was in a chest or if a boss was holding it. And that was about it. It was as simple as could be, and all I do is, in the course of generating the seed, generating all these item distributions and stuff, I just check where it is, and I wrote a couple of descriptions for, in this case, forgotten, meaning in a chest somewhere. The newest version of the hints, which I will hopefully be able to load here in the file called Better Hints, hoping it loads, is that I wrote a more robust system that will take the item name from the area, no matter which area you're in. It's no longer specific to an area. So that means when we shuffle the items around, if we do weird stuff where the items are out of order, it's all extensible. And we can add to it later. So that looks about the same. But specifically, there's several different phrases she can say, and the adjective here, hidden, can mean one of a few things. She might use an adjective that's based on the environment that it's in, like if the place is kind of dark or bright or warm or cold or creepy. And there's other adjectives that she uses that I've added that are based on whether it's with a chest or on a boss or whether someone gives it to you. Because without these hints, a highly skilled player won't need these hints. But again, a new player who's trying this game out for the first time and is trying this randomizer out for the first time, and they're told, okay, there are hints. They're a little cryptic, but they will help you so you don't just flounder around and you don't have to play the entire game front to back to try this thing. And it's a small difference to do it this way, to have these slightly more verbose hints. I'm going to be adding more variations, ones that are even more verbose, or ones that have multiple adjectives so that they're even more obvious. And now that I've written this system, now that I've written something extensible like this, now that I've written a function that will turn plain ASCII text into this crap, I don't have to do that again. So I can just keep writing more and more flavor text. I can write more descriptions. I can write more hints, just like I did with the, well, there. Let's see. Here's the original spell names, which I didn't use in the seed. Which I did, like I did with the spell names. If I want to at this point, and I've thought about doing it, I could just keep writing more prefixes and suffixes. I could keep making the spells more and more hard to grasp, but I'm probably not going to do that because that'll actually just make it harder for a new player. But a lot of the ROM hacking that we're doing is just futzing around within the file and figuring out what's there. The very first thing I did was take a look at the spell data in the game and say, okay, what happens if I take this row and I copied and pasted it, which I'm not going to do, over this row. What's going to happen? And the answer is about 1 time in 10 it crashes, and the other times it animates really weirdly and cool. And that was where it came from. I think I've shown GIFs of it before, but I'll see if I have a good GIF of it. But this project is pretty much, I want to say done. It's not done. It's never going to be done. But we're sort of nearing a final point, which I'm going to be pleased with, and I can maybe take a break and work on one of my own projects or a commercial project. But part of why I've really enjoyed working on this, here we go. Wrong screen, thank you. What happens when you mash up spells is that you get the animations of one and the effects of another. So you just get crazy explosions and things that really shouldn't animate the way they do. Everything looks cool when it uses the avalanche spell like that one. We started playing with other things, like changing the colors of the spell effects. And I want to do more with that in future so we can do different elemental things. And I have to say, I was never a person who, I guess the thesis of all this is, I was never a person who made tools for making my games or even really used external tools. And I was never a person who did a lot of like extensible coding. I did a lot of what I like to call boutique coding, which is code that's used exactly once. And this has really taught me the value of making less work for yourself. Like I mentioned at the beginning with that itch.io bundle, let other people do the work for you, or let past you do the work for you, or you'll just drive yourself crazy doing the same work over and over again, which is what the early part of this randomizer was. That, and also ask other people for help. The best example of that is certain spell combinations crash. So I got some other people to help me test which combinations crash, because I wasn't going to do all, what's 60 times 60? 3,600?
A lot.
It's a lot. I wasn't going to do them all myself. I'm really glad I didn't. So, if you want to try out this randomizer, if you want to try out Quest 64, I highly, highly recommend it. I think at this point it's in a really good place. It's really approachable. And if you've even had the slightest inkling of playing this weird old game, my creations.
It was the premier N64 RPG.
Yeah, it's the second best RPG on the N64 after Paper Mario, if you don't count Ogre Battle. It's better than Iden Chronicles, which is both the worst and third best RPG on the N64, because there's only a few. But you can get Marrow, which is the tool that allows you to randomize the game on itch. And the reason why I recommend it now isn't just because I think all these options that we've added, all these features are really cool. But one of the last things that I did was I added an option called French Vanilla, which is just vanilla, but with quality of life options. So if you want to go back and play this game, don't play the vanilla game unless you know what you're doing. Try out the French vanilla version. And you might enjoy your experience a lot better.
I love that.
And then maybe after that, maybe try the randomizer. And if you're not sure what a randomizer is and you have no fucking clue what I'm talking about, feel free to come and ask me. I've been having a lot of fun with it. But we've built up some really cool options and really cool systems, and they finally all come together into a game you can play start to finish. So it's been cool to see it come together.
I think that's a really good naming convention for mods and for ROM hacks, is to have a French vanilla.
French vanilla.
Yeah.
Quality of life.
I was racking my brain trying to think of what to call that. Like vanilla with quality of life doesn't sound great. And then I can't remember who joked about French vanilla, but
Quest 64 rearmed.
I love that Shannon character that's spitting out the hot tips for the randomization. That's so cool. Is there other randomizers that have that type of
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's some randomizers do it depending on how complex they are. My big inspiration for this one, despite it not being an open world game, was I've mentioned it before. There's a randomizer for Kingdom Hearts 2, which is insane. But the way that they implemented it was like most randomizers, like the Zelda Ocarina of Time randomizer is a super popular one. But that relies on the fact that Zelda is a super robust game that you can sequence break and play in all kinds of different directions, and you can use tools to do things you're not supposed to do. You can't do any of that in Quest. You can't sequence break in this game because later bosses will just stomp you flat. You can't do a lot of these things without modifying the game very heavily. The Kingdom Hearts 2 randomizer turns an end game location with a ton of doors into portals to every world in the game, and the key items that allow you to beat the game are hidden among those worlds. And throughout the game, you constantly get hints as to how many important checks are in each world, and an important check might be an end game item you need, or it might be magic, which is important, or whatever. And those hints say there's 2 important checks in Halloween Town. So as soon as you get 2, you can bail out and go somewhere else. And those hints are actually outside the game. There's a little program that they made to do it because they haven't incorporated it in the game yet because it's really complicated. I can't fathom ROM hacking a PS2 game. But I was really inspired by that. Like, I wanted there to be hints in the game so that if someone picks this up and just tries it, or if someone says, hey, do you want to try playing this with me, or racing this with me, or I know you liked this game, you should try the randomizer. I want it all to be contained in the game. I want the text to tell them what the spells do and what the items do, and I want it all to be very straightforward.
Yeah.
So
it
to that end,
feels more like a game other than just we've rolled the dice and this is our seed. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it feels more complete in that way.
Yeah, and the more work I put into it, the less work it looks like I've put into it, which is kind of the goal. But that's always the way. That's the way with everything I do. That's QA, that's manual writing, that's everything I do, as it turns out, is putting myself slowly out of a job. So there was a question in the chat about favorite randomizers. I mentioned Kingdom Hearts 2 randomizer. It's very cool. There's a well-known speedrunner named Spike Vegeta who is playing it all the time, and he's very good at explaining what he's doing. So Kingdom Hearts 2 randomizer is very cool. I still have a soft spot for watching the Ocarina of Time randomizer, although I've seen it 10 million times. There's an extremely wacky, weird one for Super Mario 64 that swaps the location of all like coins and other objects and enemies in the world, including the stars, which are just sort of distributed in weird places, which is more of like an acrobatic thing than an actual randomizer. It's pretty impressive to watch people play it. But I'm also fond of ones that people can play together, because one of the coolest things that I've seen emerge in the last couple of years out of randomizers, and people, you don't even have to be randomizing a game to do this, is this sort of like ad hoc co-op, where people will play a game together in slightly different ways, often a randomizer, but it doesn't have to be. They'll play the game together and they will share information back and forth with each other. They'll play the same randomizer seed, or they'll just play a game that has some variety together, and they'll share info back and forth and do this sort of like soft co-op sort of thing. And Quest is actually great for that. Players can pick different elements to put their points into. Players can dive into different locations to try to find key items, and help each other get to the end, or race each other alternately. And I really like that sort of emergent, almost like playground expansion of an existing game. And randomizers are just that, really. So it's been a lot of fun to work on.
Awesome. It's so cool to see it like basically start really coming together, and like to see you get past some of the like big obstacles that you wanted to get through, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
There were. I posted a picture on Twitter the other day, but this was the to-do list. The dark red cells are things that are done, and the cells above it are things that have been suggested. Black is things that we can't do feasibly anytime soon. And blue and purple are also things that we probably won't do anytime soon. So out of things that are possible, done like 80% of it, which is pretty
awesome.
cool. And it picks up speed once you start building your own tools and getting out of your own way a little bit. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. I always have a weird thesis for this stuff, which is like it's just play randomizers and make tools. But it's been a fun adventure, and I'm looking forward to being able to like put it half aside, put it on the back burner a little bit, and do something else. But yeah, build tools. Spinley Q in the chat, of course. The tool man.
This really has been like your adventure into tool making, right? And like even what you're talking about today, where you're like, and then we built this function to handle writing all the text, and now I don't have to do that anymore. Like that's just another smaller tool that goes inside that other tool, right?
Yeah, and once I realized, like, yeah, each function can be a tool if you make it ambiguous enough or multi-purpose. And also once I realized that once I'd made the tool Marrow, the program, that I could just keep adding more things into the program, and they would keep doing more things. Was a weird realization for me. Realizing that I could just take all the little backend tools and functions that I'd built and expose them, because why not?
Right.
It might be useful to somebody. It's definitely useful to me. They've all proven useful to me already. And having them exposed also means when I want to use them, I don't have to write code to use them. I just open the tool and I go click on this thing and I say, I want this data from this location in the ROM, and it spits it out. Yeah. And also, I guess the only other thesis from this is that almost every difficult feature in this in itself only took me about a day or two. It might have taken weeks of thinking about it before that, but writing that text translation function only actually took a couple days once I actually sat down to do it, having thought about it for a bit. I was terrified of importing some weird old C code as a DLL so that I could repair ROM file checksums so that emulators and hardware didn't scream at you when you tried to run them. I was terrified of doing that. I fought and gnashed my teeth with it for a while, and then in the end, it really didn't take that long. So try not to get too in your own head on stuff like that, because I certainly do. And probably still will.
Good lesson. Jonah, thank you so much. This has been super, super cool. I guess we'll see you in the next randomizer ROM hack thing, right?
Yeah, I'll let you know how it goes. Or maybe I'll have something new to show. We'll see.
Hell yeah. All right, folks, we are going to take a small break and we'll be back with our final presentation. It's me, spoilers, don't go anywhere.
It's Derek.
right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the final presentation of the evening. This guy, it's me, and my friends below, Jonah, and James. We have all gathered together to play an old video game. I don't have a presentation. I did not make this game, but it is October, and you know, October is the time for spooky games, right? That's what they say. I got a game that's like a little spooky, but not super spooky. This isn't like a. I went looking for old horror games. Have you guys? Is anybody here in the room ever played an old horror game on like Commodore or Atari or anything like that?
I'm old and horrible, but no, I haven't played a horror game on the on the C64.
Okay, we'll run with that. There's some classics out there. You know, there's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre on Commodore 64 is actually pretty sweet. You play as Leatherface and you're running down the you know, people. Oh, look at this. Someone in the chat is saying, hey, you should check out Forbidden Forest on the Commodore 64. Uh-oh. Spoilers. Hang on a second.
Read my mind.
Hang on a second. Jumping the gun. There's also an Evil Dead game on Commodore 64. Have you guys ever seen that one? I should have downloaded that one as a backup now that someone already called out that we're going to be playing Forbidden Forest. We're going to play Forbidden Forest. Let me load it up here. Forbidden Forest is a very cool game. You are an archer and you are in a forest, which you are not supposed to be in. It is forbidden. And it is filled with spooky monsters. I love it. Can you guys hear this?
Yes.
Beautiful. Looks like it's coming through in the chat. I love it. Great. All right. Forbidden Fortress +6. I own this game. Let's just say that out loud. I dumped this ROM. Let's jump in. Okay.
This is a backup, of course.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So the story, because story is very, very important. Spinley Q in the chat. Paul Norman's C64 shit is extremely spooky. Yes, you are correct. This is a Paul Norman joint. We'll get into that. So story, deep within the creepy, scrolling forestscape, you go with only a bow and arrows to defend yourself against the horrific creatures on your quest to defeat the evil Demogorgon. Day fades into night as you go further, tackling giant spiders and frogs, skeleton swordsmen, dragons, snakes, and phantoms. The atmospheric music adds all-pervading sense of doom as you try to survive the horrors of the Forbidden Forest. Spooky, right? And then controls in this are crazy. It's actually really cool. So I'm going to be using the numpad over here. Left and right is to angle your shots. You know, I press space here. You got a limited amount of bows. Left and right, you angle your shots, right? Fire button takes an arrow and puts it into your bow, and then you have to fire it off again. So you have to load up your arrow every time you want to shoot it. And then you can aim around left and right. Back and forward is your distance, and then you can also move side to side. It's very cool. This is a very cool game. So as you're playing, this is like, it tells you exactly what you need to do. And basically, one of the other cool things about this, if you don't know, because a lot of people don't actually read, the game actually, if you don't do anything, the game will not do anything as well too. So there's a bit of a chance for you to like think, which is kind of cool. So these are all the creatures we're going to fight. See if we can get to some of them. Bumblebees, frogs, dragons, the Demogorgon itself. All that good stuff. Okay, let's do this. Since this is the crack, we might as well take advantage of some of these cheats. Infinite lives, yes. Infinite arrows, yes. Arrows ready all the time, no. I want to load them myself. Able to see the Demogorgon in the darkness? No. Unlimited time, yes. C to skip a level? Sure, why not? Okay. When I played this earlier, I played it on Innocent, so I think we should try a different difficulty level. Any suggestions? What do you think?
I think Trooper sounds pretty good.
Trooper? Okay.
I'm enjoying the, non-generic difficulty category name.
I have to reach over to my other keyboard that has the function keys on it. Hang on.
It's not very functional there.
It worked. Okay. Fire button. Fire button? Fire button. There it is. Oh, yeah, it's intro time. Cosme. Look at this intro. Look at this intro! It's so good. This game is so good. Okay. Forbidden Forest, Paul Norman. Let's just take in this music for a hot second.
I love the non-standard letter fonts.
Right? Very good stuff. Okay. So, I could press... What is it here? There we go. 0. Oh! So 0 is my fire button. So you gotta, like, knock an arrow back. Oh, jeez. Oh, God. Oh, God! This game is hard. All right. Load an arrow. And get him! Yeah! Load an arrow. Get him! Oh, no! I think we only have to take down a few to get to the next stage. But we put infinite lives on here, so I think we could do this. Okay. Oh, shit. Shit. Oh, fuck. Where'd he go? Oh, do you see that? From downtown. Alright, so I beat the stage there. We get a little song and dance number. Which I don't think I can skip. And it kind of goes for a bit, so feel free to take a drink.
I was gonna say, this dude's got some frames on him, but then he started dancing, and he doesn't really have that many frames.
No, he's super stoked. He's like, yo, I got him! I told you, this this keeps going. There might be another button that I'm missing. Okay, I think we're back. Okay, load him up. Okay, we're on the B level now.
I always liked how all these games always wrote high score with just an H and an I. No G and no H.
Oh yeah, those letters didn't exist back then. Oh no.
I think that's how high school should be written as well.
Oh my god! This bee's gonna kill me! Oh, I think I need to shoot higher maybe. Oh yeah. Yeah!
Got him.
And we get this little song and dance again. We might make our way to the Demogorgon here.
It's like the bee that was annoying me when I was having brunch today.
Someone in the chat saying this game scared the shit out of them when they were a child. I believe it. This came out in 1983. It's got a vibe, right? Like, I want to see some of these other enemies now. Okay, knock an arrow. Oh my god! What the fuck is this? No!
Welcome to the, which plague is this? Do we have any, theologians in the chat?
Oh god! Let me out of the Forbidden Forest. Oh! Oh!
Those frogs just look so happy, though.
I got right squished. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's go. Oh shit! Man. So you have a hot second at the very beginning to like figure out what you're gonna do. We'll see what happens when I come back here. So like if I don't touch anything, nothing happens. But as soon as I press any single button, the game starts. So in the instructions, the game is like, you should probably just knock an arrow first. Which is like really dumb, because they're kind of like, why didn't you just like start me off with an arrow if that's like the move that you have to do first? Oh shit, I got it. I only had to get one, I guess.
I don't think that would be very immersive if you started with an arrow already knocked. Dude, they're trying to give you the full, damn, what's the name of this game again? The Forbidden Forest experience.
Oh my goodness, I can't read the username in the chat here, but calling out it's flat fuck Forbidden Friday. For me getting squished to all hell. Yep. Okay.
That's from Scott.
What do we got here now? Oh, I saw that. Oh my goodness. Oh no. We have to fight a dragon? That's the guy from the intro. That's not good. Oh my god!
The sometimes parallax is really interesting to me.
Is that fire? Am I on fire?
I think you're on fire.
That was probably fire. Okay, let's knock an arrow. See if we can find this guy. Let's increase our aim. Where's our aim counter? Oh, there it is, all the way on the side there. Shoot the moon. Shoot the moon! This is so good. I love the trees, the way that they're drawn. It's so good. Like the dithering effect. Oh my god! This came out of nowhere.
Why is the moon sort of moving though? The moon doesn't move, does it?
It's got sort of a Majora's Mask thing going on the face, eh?
Yeah. It's like the face before the bullet hits it in the eye.
Yeah. You know, they always say, Forbidden Forest inspired Miyamoto.
I don't remember many C64 games with Parallax.
You know, that's a really good point. At least not to this effect.
Yeah.
I didn't play it much. It's sort of a blind spot for me, because I feel like we think of like stuff like the Famicom and the Master System, and then stuff that came after. And then anything before that, we tend to sort of think of like the Atari 2600 and stuff like that. But there really was this kind of other middle ground between the Famicom and something like the Atari 2600, where you had stuff like early Commodore 64 games, but I'm thinking especially of stuff like the ColecoVision and the Intellivision, where they're kind of interesting. Like, they actually try to do a lot of like ambitious graphical presentations and stuff like that. They just don't have like, you know, very vibrant colors or very like high resolution sprites or anything.
Color's changing. Is that bad? Yeah, I agree. My only interaction with the Commodore 64 was at my babysitter's when I was a real young kid. And I played the hell out of Break Street. Maybe one of the best video games of all time. Oh yeah! No! God!
What is that, a breakdancing game?
It is a breakdancing game, yes.
Nice.
It's absolutely amazing.
These colors.
I know, eh? Yeah, we gotta see if we can get past this dragon at least. He's pissing me off. And check out
What is
like,
that little table?
even like the animation on this guy spinning around, right? Like, oh no! You kind of get locked into these animations once you start. Okay.
What's that like black table or like altar or like
Like this thing?
passageway or something? Yeah, that thing.
I wonder if I could put an arrow through it. Oh, come on. Okay, how close does he have to be? Oh, that was so close!
Very reminiscent of trying to kill Jaws in the NES game Jaws.
Not entirely dissimilar. Oh my god! He just comes out of the side, out of nowhere. I can see why people
This
would be
makes a
scared of
great
this game.
sound when you get zapped.
Okay, can I put that through there?
I'm blowing up my spot here, but I think there's a lot of opportunity to make a game inspired by the NES game Jaws, but actually good. By just like fully fleshing out the RPG elements and like adding other bosses and stuff, and having like a way bigger map.
That must exist, right? Someone must have done that. Oh! Oh, what is happening here? Why are things different?
Sounds like something Loco Molito would do, but I don't think he actually has.
Whoa. What happened? Is the game breaking? Okay. Oh.
It might be. Oh wow, that just coming out of nowhere.
Oh god, oh god, oh god, he's right behind me. Turn around! Get him! Ah! Come on! That was close.
I mean, I think you're killing him too. Like, he goes down. You're definitely getting him with the arrow, but it's just you're already dead.
I just gotta also survive, maybe?
It's a bit of a Pyrrhic victory. A Pyroic.
So
victory.
this seemed like a decent strategy where I should, like, get him to come and then run my ass away. We'll just play this for a little bit. This is all we're doing tonight. It's just doing this for a little bit and taking off. So we'll just see if we can kill this dragon. And then get out of here. If anyone has questions about Forbidden Forest, ask away. I know nothing about this game. But I will make it up.
Well, you know what they say, black sky at night, archer's delight.
Oh god. Just keep moving. Okay, yeah. Oh, okay. Well, this is the idea. No, keep moving. Knock an arrow. Shoot him.
God.
Oh.
I bet this is the exact kind of like extremely difficult, but there's one person who's really good at it.
Oh, absolutely. Shit. Get back here, you. Get back here. Not on my watch. I will hunt you down. And go. Okay, that was too far. Okay. Reload. Can I catch
If
him?
all my Twitch viewing has taught me anything, it's that it's some guy with an English accent who only plays this game every third night of the week. He just like smashes it.
Okay.
This does feel like a macaw kind of game.
Hmm.
I honestly feel like I'm starting to get somewhere.
Well, Macaw's Australian.
Yeah, but he does have an accent and he does play strange games.
Come on, where you at? Oh, shit.
Yeah, maybe they're for like the Nokia phone or something.
Okay.
Yeah, we gotta get Dino on this.
only if they're movie tie-ins that were made for the Nokia.
And go. Where's my aim? I gotta shoot higher. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. Look at this
rude.
goes. I think I might be able to get this guy.
This dragon's getting Derek hot in more ways than one.
Hey, listen, if I can kill this dragon, maybe I'll make Jonah believe in Halloween again.
We need Bard from Lake King. See, I think you're hitting him. When he does that slow fall down, I feel like you got him.
Shit. Okay. Oh, he's throwing twice now. Oh, I think he's like switching up his moves. I don't know. I didn't shoot there, and he's falling down here.
Well, maybe he just got tired.
That's probably it. Well, the moon's like going down. That's cool too.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Someone hypothesized that it is in fact the time limit.
That makes sense. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Alright, where are you at? I like how the bow just keeps hitting me in the face every time I'm walking here.
I think you turned on unlimited time.
Oh yeah, I did. We'll see.
Oh yes.
See if it loops or if this just goes forever, but give us another couple minutes here. Where you at? I know there's definitely other monsters. I don't think that's the Demogorgon or whatever. It's just the dragon. Where you at? Oh, shit. Okay. Take a shot. 2 shots, eh? Okay. Oh, shit. 3 shots. Now he's just shooting. Alright, last one. This one's for all the marbles.
See, if this was a Souls game, at least you would have a dodge button.
I ran under it! That was awesome! Alright, come here, you asshole. This is it.
Like the James Bond of
Come on.
archers.
Come on, and shoot! Oh, okay. So that was too far. We were halfway. Load it, and catch him. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh no, he split into 2.
It's not fair. That's not fair. He Pac-Man'd me. Okay. Should I keep going? Is this as far as we're getting in this?
It might be.
Folks, if you want to venture into your own Forbidden Forest, you can find it on the internet. It's an old-ass game.
You can make your own perfectly legal backup.
Uh-huh.
Or check out the Internet Archive, where it probably is.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. What isn't on the Internet Archive? The Internet Archive is probably the best thing on the internet. That's what I say. They're doing some great work over there.
There we go.
There's this guy.
There's a definitely unrelated link.
Oh shit! It's oh wow, I ran right under that. Okay. Okay, so he needs to be ahead of me a little bit. Not too much.
I'm gonna make my
Now.
own ROM of this
Nope.
and call it the For Biden Forest, and then send it to Joe Biden.
He's not going to shoot me, is he? I don't think so. Yes. Okay. Okay. I got this. Shoot. Okay. It's all good. If I get him to the other side of the screen, I have enough time to reload. Okay. Winter's coming. Not great.
Sprinting.
Okay. And, oh, shit. I think he's going to shoot again. Folks, I hope you had a fun time with us this fine October show and tell. I think that's gonna do it. Any closing words from our fine forbidden adventurers in the room here?
Play some games. Play the games that you've been thinking about playing, but you keep not starting to play. Maybe try actually playing them, even if you feel like it'll be tiring.
That's a good little motto. Maybe even play a scary game. You know what?
Yeah.
Everyone should go check out that Evil Dead game. It looked dope. I'm gonna go do it. You like run around the cottage as Ash. It looked really fun. Play some more Commodore 64 horror games. There's a lot of them. There's like survival horror kind of started on the Commodore 64, I think. Looking into that stuff, that's probably worth an afternoon's perusing on the Internet Archive. James Eversmith, Jonah Davison, and me, Derek Liu. Thanks everyone for hanging out tonight. Thanks for Andy for showing his game earlier. Everyone go check it out on Steam, pick it up, all that good stuff. We will be back next month with more video games. Hey, if you want to get in on this show, what should people do? Jonah?
Join the Discord.
Where's our Discord?
I don't know the link off. I was about to say.
30-rectangles.com/Discord. We'll throw a link into the chat or something. And if you want to jump in there, you can find a channel for presenting if you want to present, or just come and hang out. We do these things all the time. It's all good. James from the internet, any final words?
My voice is actually fucked up right now, but I can at least say it's a fun night. Thanks everybody for coming out. Thanks everybody who presented. And a forthcoming thank you to anybody who decides to present in the coming months. Again, we do one of these every month, usually the second Wednesday of the month. Yeah, we're always looking for people to present. You don't have to have a finished game. It doesn't have to be on Steam. It doesn't even have to be on itch.io, though really probably should be. I mean, why wouldn't it be? But yeah, if you just have a project that you just started, or you're halfway through, or something that you haven't worked on in a while, and you just open up the file again and you're thinking, who the hell made this and what the hell was I doing? As long as it can build and it can run, you should come show it on the show.
If it sort of builds, that's fine too. We'll figure it out. Anyways, it's been real. We're out of here. Hope you had a good time. Yeah. Bye.
Take it easy, everybody.
Ciao, folks.